Hi, how's it going today?
Good. Is my audio all right?
Your audio is, and I like the background there.
Yeah,
Why,
nice.
why thank you. Thank, what did we do without the internet and images of our colleagues' campuses to use in a Zoom background?
There you go.
All right, well, just to kind of get started, we'll do some quick introductions, and then we have about 6 questions to ask you, and we'll hopefully have some time at the end for you if you have some questions for the group. And
Awesome.
I'll start. My name is Whitney Slater. I'm the director of the Student Recreation and Wellness Center.
Hi, Whitney.
Hi, Teresa. I'm Jackie Askren. I'm the assistant to the Vice President of Student Life and also work very closely with the Associate Vice President.
Okay. Hi, Jackie.
Sorry.
You want sorry, I didn't
Go
know.
ahead, Stephanie. Sorry, my radio was blaring.
All right. I'm Stephanie Lanning. I'm the University Registrar here at Washburn.
Hi, Stephanie.
And hello, I'm Christina's Chief of Police here at Washburn. So
Hi, Chris.
nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. My camera's up here, and y'all are here, so if I happen to look down at your faces, that's what I'm doing. So just to give you perspective for my setup.
All right, well, I'm going to start with the first question here. So what interests you in Washburn and this position?
That's a great question. As you can tell from my resume, I'm an Emporia State alum, and there's a friendly rivalry with Emporia State and Washburn. Yet I have found working in my career of higher education, we all have the same purpose of wanting to help students find their level of success along with their families. And so when I saw this position posted, it is a step up for me. Currently, I serve as an assistant VP in my role, and having some familiarity with Washburn and the campus and the community, it has been an interest for me to get back on the eastern side of the state. And so seeing this opportunity and reading the position description, a lot of the things that are in the position description align with the experience I currently have or have had in the past. And I'm looking forward to my next opportunity. I just wrapped up year 5 working here at Fort Hays State, and looking for that next opportunity that could help me move up for my future goals of someday serving as a VP in a similar area. So when I saw this being posted and wanted to make sure I had an opportunity to share with you my interest as well as what I could bring to the role.
All right, thank you. So your next question is describe your leadership style and how it differs from your supervision style.
Okay, my leadership style and how it differs from my supervision. That's a really good question. Y'all, that's a good question. I don't know if I've had that before. When I think of the directors that work for me currently, my supervision style is one of I've hired what I feel, who I feel is the best person to serve in that role and to lead that particular department. And so I give the folks that report to me as directors autonomy in the work that they're doing because I trust what they're doing. I also let them know that I'm there for them as a guide, yet there are times when my supervisor or the president may ask for something or put something in a frame that they need to complete, then I'm going to let them know what they need to do. I want to help them to be successful as directors. And so it's that balance of allowing them the autonomy to lead their department while keeping me informed. And then with the supervisory capacity, I really want to help the folks that report to me meet their personal and professional goals. And so I'm always working with them to find out what they would like to do, what are their aspirations, if they're working on an advanced degree, where do they want to do that, how. If they're not interested in that, how else are they continue to grow as a professional and as a staff person is my supervisory component. I always want to make sure that folks know I'm there to support them in what they like to do personally and professionally, and whether that's being engaged with another department or entity across the campus or within the community that may not necessarily directly be connected to what they're doing, but would enhance their knowledge as a staff person. I want to make sure that I support them with that.
Okay, thank you, Teresa. So your third question is, as it relates to student success, what are you most passionate about?
Only one thing? There, there are several things. When I started in my current position, I was having a conversation with our director of financial aid. And because I work with conduct and Title IX, and then I do get to advise SGA and work with Black Student Union and Collegiate 4-H Club. I get to work with students in different capacities, not just those who are not making necessarily the best choices or who might need help. And so in talking with the director of financial aid, there was a student that was in some trouble, and I wanted to know a little bit more about them because I felt like the information I was getting from the incident wasn't quite giving me the whole picture of the student. And so when I asked about their financial setup and what they might be concerned with, I had a better picture. And then at that time, I told my colleague, I said, Wendy, I'm trying to help this student find their level of success. And that's what I like to do. That's what I'm passionate about. So whether it's a student who is set on getting their business degree and opening up their own auto mechanic place, which I'd be happy to take my vehicle there. That's great, right? I would help that student figure that out. This is probably why I'm not the enrollment management person, because I want them to be successful, whether it's at Fort Hays or Washburn or that next place. So helping a student find their level of success, meeting them where they are. And so that happens on an individual level. In my role now, I get to do that a little bit, but it's really helping the student. Also, because I've done diversity, equity, inclusion work, is helping students, faculty, and staff learn more about that from their lens and how they can have engaging in civil conversations about diversity, equity, and inclusion, which can be challenging. Yet when you help folks find that comfort zone and that they're able to have conversations to help them grow their knowledge, then you get to see that success, and that helps me feel my passion for DEI work, as well as helping students, whether it's something through conduct or them finding their way to be successful.
So that dovetails nicely with the next question.
Okay.
But
Okay.
first, I'll say I also came from Emporia State. That's where I started, so that's a good thing.
Oh,
did you?
and Whitney
I didn't
too?
know that.
Look,
Wow.
there are hornets,
Very cool.
hornets everywhere.
Yeah. Yep, very good. I keep trying to get a lake here in the middle of our campus, but so far I'm turned down. I don't know.
Darn about that.
All right, on to the next question.
Okay.
What strategies have you used to advance diversity and inclusion and equity in your work environment? Were your efforts successful? Why and why not?
Okay. The efforts, were they successful? Why or why not? Correct, Chris?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
As you can see from my resume, I've worked in diversity work from my time at Emporia State, at Baker, at KU, and now here. It's been a little bit of everything. One of the things I would say that has been most successful in my recent work has been leading our inaugural campus climate survey at Fort Hays regarding diversity, equity, and inclusion. In the history of the university, they have not conducted that type of survey, and that was, we were able to do that. Interesting enough, as the pandemic was happening, we were trying to do that, so a lot of things that came with that. Some may see that it wasn't as successful because we had around 400 people complete the survey. I saw that as a level of success because we completed it and people were engaged and involved. They wanted to be a part of it. They shared information. While you may not take and change something completely on the response of one person, when you hear from multiple people that they have concerns, that's a way for us to see that not any one institution is perfect, and that we always have an opportunity to grow and change. When you talk about being a family, being a part of the Ichabod family, right? If not everyone in your family feels comfortable and welcomed, how are we going to make those changes? So I saw it being a success because we were able to complete it. We're able to pull information from that and start to look at it to help us make changes. One of those changes that had already started in the ball rolling, so to speak, was a part of our strategic plan. Goal 3.3 is to recruit and retain diverse faculty and staff. And so some of the information that we gathered from the survey spoke to the lack of diversity of our faculty and staff on campus. So we knew that was something that needed to be worked on. The information from the survey helped us have more information from individuals. So I saw it as a success. Just like different folks across campus, they may not have necessarily seen it as a success, but that means in a couple of years from now, we will do that survey again to see what improvements have been made and to see what else we can do in the future. So that would be what I have done recently regarding DEI work. And Chris, did I hit all the components of the question?
Yeah, no,
Okay.
yeah, absolutely. And
Okay.
So, yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Sure.
All right. Can you describe for us your experience with handling student conduct and discipline issues?
Yes. So my experience working with conduct has been since I worked at Cotty College when I was a residential hall director, and then it has continued when I worked at University of Kansas in residential life, and then continued while I was at Baker. When I was at Baker, being Associate Dean of Students and Director of Residential Life, I was the lead for that because, as you might imagine, a lot of the student conduct comes out of the residential living areas. So I worked the graduate assistants and the resident assistants in that aspect. When I came to Fort Hays, then I became, again, the lead for university conduct. And while I've been here, it has ranged from some things Title IX, some things not. I also am the person, since while residential life reports to me, I have those aspects of conduct that happen off campus. So I have a good working relationship with Coach Scheibler. He'd probably like to be called Coach, but Chief Scheibler, Don Scheibler, and his staff, as well as our new incoming University Police Department, regarding any conduct that happens off campus. For us, we get those arrest logs from HPD, and we're able to look at that information and be able to add that to our Maxient system, so that, let's say, for example, if Jackie's having some challenges with something with the local police department, we have that information in our files from anything that might be happening on campus. We can help Jackie figure out what's going on and why she might be having conflict off campus as well as on campus. And so in earlier years, I would be the hearing officer for a lot of different things. As I moved up as associate dean or AVP, I was often the appeal, or if the level of conduct was at a more severe level, maybe if there's been repeat offenses for either controlled substance or alcohol, whatever the case might be. And then I really have worked to make sure that anything in residential life, that the director of residential life has been the appeal, unless there's other issues that come with that. So I've been the hearing officer, I've been the appeal officer, I've had the opportunity to, as I call, uninvite students to not return to the university, whether it's been for a suspension or whether it's been for dismissal. Some of that has been based upon severe crimes that happen off campus or on campus, as well as based on behavior. When a student has had some challenges in the classroom or out of the classroom regarding behavior, we've created what I call a success plan that tells that student, here's what you're expected to do. You're expected to go to counseling. You're expected to do this. When you follow these things, you get to continue. If you do not follow all these items, then you get to leave, and that's explained as a part of that plan. So I've done a little bit of everything in that aspect.
And Teresa, just as a follow-up to that question,
Mm-hmm.
with student conduct, what kind of tracking system are you familiar with?
Most recently, while I've been at Fort Hays, has been the Maxient system. Prior to that, when I was at Baker, we had Excel files and Word documents. In my, whoo, that was a whole lot. I tell you, I love me some Maxient right now. Because it's been so easy for us to use. And I think shortly after I left Baker, they did go with Maxient as their system to document concerns. And then, as you might know from Higher Learning Commission, HLC, we're to track complaints and concerns. And so we've been using the Maxient system. I work with Amy Schaefer, who's our compliance officer. And so we've been using that to track a variety of things. I'm a level 5 user with Maxient, as well as Amy. She gets to see everything because she gets to see faculty, staff, and students. I get to see a lot of things because of conduct and Title IX. So do y'all happen to have Maxient? Okay.
Yes, we do, Teresa.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yes, sure thing.
Okay, so this is kind of a long question, so if I need to repeat it, let me know.
Sure thing.
This position requires a collaboration with faculty and staff to promote student success. Tell us about a time when you had to collaborate with someone outside your unit, department, or division to achieve your goals. And in your opinion, what was the most important in establishing and maintaining good collaborative partnerships?
Okay, thank you, Stephanie. The example I'll use is working with our School of Education. Are you able to still hear me all right? Okay, is working with our School of Education, and they contacted me because in the School of Education, that's one department that has everything outlined as far as what a future teacher is to complete, is to do, how they are to behave. They sign off on documentation that if they do not follow this, and this is what happens. And so I use them as an example with other departments to say, ask Scott for this information because I think you might find something that's helpful. And so they had a student teacher that had a DUI. And of course, like many student teachers will go back to their local community to do their student teaching with the hopes of getting a job there or the familiarity of being able to be with maybe someone that was your teacher or that you know. And the concern was that the student had violated the expectations and the understanding that they had signed off on. And then being able to communicate with that supervising teacher, which because it was a small school district, I think it was the superintendent that was involved. How should the School of Education proceed and what should happen? Because it's the first time for everything. They had not had this happen before. So I was able to sit down with the faculty because they have a committee that reviews concerns, and they felt like, well, this is a little bit too much for us. We don't know what's happening. Let's bring in Teresa to talk. And so they had a lot of good things in place. They just had not had the opportunity to conduct an investigation or to proceed in how to gather the information while maintaining confidentiality, because in a way the person is an employee, but how do you work through this? And there was interest on behalf of the supervising school and the school district to help the individual through this challenge because they were familiar with them. And so I said, well, while that's a component, you do need to remember that you have expectations. How do you want to work with the student? They were very close to finishing their student teaching, thereby completing their degree, yet here was something that they felt was a very serious violation of expectations. And so I was able to have those conversations with them, give them some guidance while helping them help the student and gather information. What I felt really worked well was that I did a lot of listening to be able to understand, reviewed their materials, looked at our overall student code of conduct and expectations, which theirs was really much more strict and much more guided on what would happen if you had a violation. And so being able to talk with them through that, they were able to help meet with the student, talk with them, find out information, and then really put them on a success plan to help them say, this is what you need to do to rectify the concern that we have, along with being able to continue to finish your degree and to move to that next level of being a teacher in the K through 12 system. So I felt like I'd already had a good working relationship with them, and then be able to come into such a difficult conversation was really a good outcome. And then we continue to keep in touch. I've been added to one of their committees regarding diversity, equity, and inclusion that they need to do for their certification. So, and now I know that was a kind of a long answer. Did I hit all the points? Okay, all right.
All right, that's all the questions that we have for you. So we're going to turn it over if you have any questions for the committee here.
Actually, Teresa, can I just one quick one?
Yeah, sure.
Do you have any experiences working with the UVAT teams or SAVE teams? Different institutions call it different things, but the behavioral assessment teams, threat assessment teams.
Yes. So when I was at Baker, we had it was more of a care team of sorts, but it really was one of those that if a student had repeat offenses, there was a group of us that reviewed and talked about the individual. And then I have led the similar group at Fort Hays. It's called the Behavioral Intervention Team. And then last year we created an early college program behavioral intervention team. At Fort Hays, we have the AMS-CAMS program, where high school juniors and seniors can finish their high school diploma with us while getting college credit. So that group, being minors and having some different concerns and issues, we have a separate one for that. And then the campus-wide one that is a behavioral intervention team has someone from athletics, FHSU Online, from our university police department, from health and wellness services, accessibility services and counseling, as well as my staff, and then Amy Schaefer as our compliance officer. And then a component of those folks then are also on that early college program bit team for that. So we review things, Chris said, it ranged from someone to taking a bat to someone's car on campus if they thought it was someone they knew. Wasn't the same car, and then we gave that person a letter to say you're no longer welcome on campus, to anything that it reaches a severe level, like level 3 or 4. So.
Okay. Gotcha. All right. Thank you.
Sure thing. Okay, so my first question for you is, what are you looking for in the next Associate Vice President for Student Life and Dean of Students at Washburn? I know y'all ready to all rush at the same time to answer the question.
I'll start.
Okay.
I'm unmuted, so I'll start.
Okay.
I'm really pleased with the office and the person that we have there now, so I hope to continue those same efforts, right? Always good to look at process and see what we can do better, so always looking for fresh ideas and new ideas. But the relationship is important to me, and I hope that continues, because I feel like the two offices really need to work well together to have a good, cohesive university with a good, safe environment. And I think we do. I felt that way before the gentleman that's there now, but before he was there, I thought we had a really good relationship as well. So I hope that continues. I think it will. But that communication is very important. I've said that several times to other candidates as well, like the communication at every level with this person, especially as I asked about the UVAT team. We call it a UVAT team,
okay.
The University Behavioral Assessment Team. That has become a very key component to campus safety, and something that's really kind of downplayed a lot of times, maybe underscored. Not a lot of people talk about it or think about it when they think campus safety, but it is a really key component, because that's how I know when there's a potential threat to the university internally. And same thing for you all, right?
Right.
When we learn something and we share that, then you're able to help take steps to remediate that before it becomes a problem. And then the whole conduct piece really kind of dovetails with that, and the two kind of go hand in hand a lot of times, I think. So usually where we're having a conduct issue, there's probably a UBAC component to that. So.
Okay, thank you, Chris.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I can just piggyback on Chris.
Okay.
Obviously, most important to me is gaining another great team member to go with Dr. Gerspich and I in our office here. But student conduct, I've just witnessed it. It's a big part of the job. And like Chris said, the communication part, not just the discipline part, but students feel comfortable coming in and visiting with this person and know we're here to try to help them.
Mm-hmm.
There's obviously situations where students don't feel that way, but you know, and a good leader for our team. We have 7 different offices, units underneath of us, and plays a role in all of that also. So excited for the next person. Looking forward to working with them.
Okay. Thank you, Jackie.
And as one of those, departments that could potentially report to this position is just that communication piece is very important, but also, having the trust that, that we can try different things and have ideas within our department, but also have that support from this position as well. And having them there if needed to bounce ideas off of or have questions to get that good relationship going.
Okay. Thank you, Whitney.
So I'm going to add, I've only been at the institution for about 2.5 years, and even though this position doesn't have much contact with me in the registrar's office, sometimes information is needed. I understand the importance of this role, and the communication needs to be accurate and timely. But I think just a team player on this Washburn campus, since I've been here new, everybody has been so helpful and so friendly, and it's been a great family to have. And wherever office you go into or wherever you go, there's just a smiling face and someone is there to be helpful. And it's been a nice job being here.
Thanks, Stephanie. That's good to know. So my last question is, what is the timeline that you're looking at for the remaining part of the process?
Yeah, so we are kind of finishing up the first round of screenings. So ideally, we will start contacting people and hopefully get some stuff scheduled for on-campus interviews within the next week and a half or so. I know schedules are busy this time of year, so that could be an interesting game that we have to kind of work through. But ideally, we're looking at around September, the start of September, to kind of get this person in and going if possible. But and there's some flexibility with all of this just because of the school year is sneaking up on all of us real quick.
Yes, the summer has flown by. It was June, and then all of a sudden it was July 31st. And I said, what happened? Where did the month go? My parents used to say, as you get older, time goes faster. And I'm like, no, it doesn't. But now I live my life. Always live my life in semesters, and so yes, it does. We have our fall athletes moving in this weekend, so that shows you that we're getting ready for all of that. So, okay, well, thank you for that. That's very helpful. I don't have any other questions at this time.
All right. Well, we
Teresa,
appreciate your time.
have they started a replacement for Ed out there yet?
Oh yes, we do have a replacement.
Oh, already named?
Already.
Wow.
well-
Okay, they're moving right along.
Well, I can say that because I was on the search committee.
Nice,
It
nice.
is Terrence Pierce, and Terrence is coming from Pittsburgh State University.
Oh,
So
okay.
we are welcoming a Pitt State gorilla to the campus. Yes, and I think Terrence is already on campus and working, and I've added him to the BIT meetings and everything. So yes, we have
Cool.
him, and so yeah. Are you familiar with Terrence?
Only through Stu, the chief down at Pitt State.
Okay.
He kind of talked about him when he applied for the role up there. So,
Mhm.
but I hadn't heard any announcements, so that's exciting. Good.
Yes, it is. It is. So, all right. Well,
All right. Well, Teresa, if there's anything that you do have questions on, feel free to email me, and I will get those answered for you.
all right. Thank you so much for your time. I greatly appreciate
meet
the
you.
opportunity. Nice to meet you
Thank you.
too.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. I couldn't hear the meeting.